Hello and welcome to another week in our garden. This morning it's very overcast, a little bit of wind on. We've had rain on and off all week, so hopefully we can finish this video without having a rainstorm. Now we're going to do a little bit of planting first into a couple of pots and a hanging basket, as we said we were going to do last week, but the weather was totally against us. Right, now this is the planter we're going to plant up, a pair of them for the courtyard. We've done one just to give you an idea of what we're going to do, and then we'll plant one with you to show you what we put in them. It's very nice and it'll last well through the season. It will need a little bit of feeding because there's a lot of plants in there obviously. Now the compost I've used is just normal potting, and I've added some bloodfish and bone, about an handful, and some hoof and horn meal as well. The hoof and horn meal we release slowly for the rest of the season. There is a little bit in this compost when you buy it, but it's usually burnt out within a few weeks, so it's always best to put a little bit more in. And fish blood and bone is as good as you'll get, I think. They're old pots, we've had them a year or two now. They used to have gold bands on them, but it's all worn off now and most of the paint's worn off. But they're still good strong planters, so we'll keep using them. Eventually, with the sun on them, they will split, and then I'm afraid we'll have to get rid of them then. But till then, we'll keep planting them up. Okay, now we're going to start by putting a big fuchsia in the back, and then a geranium, and then some fuchsias at the side. Right, I've come round the front because it's easier for me to plant from the front. We want these two overlaps at the front, so it's nice to look at as well. These are fuchsias grown on a frame. They're not mine, I'm afraid. Mine didn't get quite as big as this, so I've actually bought these. They're not expensive, and they will produce us a lot of cuttings for next year, and they'll be with us for a year or two, so they're well worth the money. We'll place that one at the back, look, and then we'll push some compost around the back so it's got nice and firmly in. There you go. So that's nice and sturdy in there. Then we'll start with two fuchsias and a geranium for the centre. These are our own that we've overwintered. They should be nearly rooted down by now. Not long, oh they have rooted down. Not long since potted those, they're soon grown on. Now it'll be too low if I put it in like that, so I'll just get some more compost and top that up. Put plenty of compost in, because as you're watering them and they're growing, the compost will shrink back quite a bit. There you go, look. And there's the fuchsia going in. Present it well at the front, look. There's a little bit of dead on it there, look, so we'll take that off. So that'll be nice there. Perhaps up a little bit, just there. A little bit more compost, that's better, and then we'll balance the other one up on this side. There you go. This one's got a little bit of weakness on it there, but we'll turn it the other way round so it holds itself up, look. The branch wasn't broken, it was just weak, and push plenty of compost in there before we put the geranium in. Have a nice seat. We use a white one. This again is one of the ones that's overwintered, look. It's come quite well. There's a little bit washed out where we kept them outdoors in that rain, but they're picking up again now. This will be well rooted. There you are, look. That's nice. I'm not loosening the compost or anything around the roots. And then I want to get that by using this piece that's coming forward, so it fills that nice space like that, and then bring those round it. Then again, we need to get some more compost into these gaps. So we just put a bit more in. It's a messy job, but on this table it doesn't matter. Push it well round, make sure it's presented nice. There you go, look. That's coming nicely now. Now to get the front, I'm going to put a trailing geranium in here, ivy leaf geranium. Very pretty, so that will trail over the front. Again, it's one of ours, look. You can see it hasn't been potted very long, but that's fine. And then this is going to go in the front here. It will go. There you go. And that'll tend to trail more, the ivy leaf, so it'll look nice coming down the front. We'll put in these Tumbelina surfinias. These are actually bought in because we didn't overwinter these, but we like them. Looks like something's been eating that little. Again, a little bit washed out, but they'll soon pick up. We'll put 2 of those in, look, one either side. That'll be nice there. And the other one. The other one there, I think, like that. Just bring that round a little. There you go. Now to fill the back, we're going to use begonias. Now it's going against the wall, luckily the white walls, and it will tend to draw the back plants up a little. So if we put begonias in, they'll fill that up nicely at the sides. So we're going to put the begonias in just there, one either side. These are ones I bought in, and I've potted them and grown them on in liners. You see, in there nicely. Keep looking for gaps, and if you feel a gap in there, fill it up with compost. Then on the other side. Just here, look, so it'll come up and fill that space. This space we can't do anything about because it's against the wall. In it goes. Bring the compost up. That'll be fine. So it's beginning to look something now. There's a lot missing around the bottom. So what we'll do now, we'll put inpatients in just to brighten the centre up, okay? These are what we bought at the garden centre when they were selling them off because they was a bit bedraggled. But they'll soon pick up, they'll be fine. I think it's one of Diane's good buys, that she's always seems to find something. We'll just look at them over. If there's anything, they're fine, not as dead leaf there, we'll take that off. That'll do nicely. Now what we're going to do, we're going to put it here, then another one in there. We'll use 4 in a line across, and then we'll sweep round with the others so it matches. I have to keep looking at Diane to make sure I'm colour coordinating properly. I think I am. There you are. Look. Can you see it's got a little seed head on there? 2 of them. Just nip those off as you go. You'll never keep up with taking the seed heads off, but if you take them off when you plant them, you see that's about the same colour, so we need to be there to give it a bit of balance. In it goes. There is some gaps there, I'll fill those up in a moment. And then a nice one there, if we can get it out. Don't want the red. Oh, that's bicolour, so we'll take it. This one's had 2 seedlings in it that's been grown from seed, so we'll put it in like that. We'll use it in there, I think. It's going behind the surfinia and in front of the fuchsia. Just make sure not too much has been damaged when you put them in. If you damage something, put them in, just break it off. We'll have this nice pink one. There's a little bit of seed head on there. Look, we'll take those off. You can see why they were selling them off. They really are drawn up, but they're ideal for this job. This one's going to go in there, look, you see. And then what we need to do then is put a little bit more compost in so we can fill those gaps up behind. I'll use this pot, it's easier. So if I just push the compost in and then work it in with my fingers so it's all, if there's a gap, obviously it's going to just dry out and the water will just flush down that gap and miss the plant, so we'll just fill all the gaps in. Get right in there and work it in. That's nice, I like that, that'll do. Now we've got all that in, what we want now is something to trail down. We use these bacopas. These are the ones we took our own cuttings from and we multi-set them so there's at least 2 or 3 to each pot. Now they're thickened up quite well. Look, that's actually trailing. Where it's got a little bit of root coming on, and that's where it's been in the next pot because that's how the root. So when I plant it, I'll just fold that back and replant it in there. We'll just make room in here, look. That's it. Lovely, that. In it goes, and then this little bit that's got the root on there, we just tuck it back and tuck that in as well. And that'll root quite happily through. We'll have another one here, so we'll put 4 in altogether. Look at this one, look, this is really rooted across. It'll be fine. It's with us holding them for a week in the greenhouse. Obviously they was ready last week, but the weather wasn't ready. So just put that in there, replant that little bit that was broken, look, that can go in as well. Take that dead head off. There you go, look, that can go up there. One more in there and one more in there. As they go in, they will actually tighten all the plants up. I'm going to take that off, look, because it didn't look nice in there. It looks a lot of plants, but they'll soon settle down, and the more that's in there, the more flowers you'll get, because they'll compete against one another. And this bacopa will literally cover the whole of the base. And these that are facing upwards, if you feed them in a little bit, they'll also go through. So we'll do one more in there, just to fill that nice space there. Just turn it very wet. Just turn it and in it goes. Look, let that to go nicely there. That'll do nicely. Now we'll just go round and see anything that you've damaged or is not looking too good, we'll take out, but that's fine. That'll do nicely. We'll just clean up and then we'll show you the finish. Now we're going to do this hanging basket. I've took the chains off. I find it easier to build the basket without the chains on. Then he says pulling the chains through all the flowers when they're finished. I'm going to put it into this pot, just hold it steady while I fill it. Now I'm going to put geranium in the middle. Now I was going to use this one that we'd overwintered, but obviously it's far too strong. The time I get all the plants in, it'll be overpowering. So I'm going for this one, which is again one of our overwintered ones. It's a bit smaller, and I think that will suit a little bit better because it will grow. Same compost as those tubs, and let's have a look, see how she's done. Oh, don't want to come out. There it is, look. It's all new roots, so that should be fine. Now putting it in, at the moment that looks a little bit too low to me because this compost will shrink back, so we'll just put a little bit more in. Let's have a look at that. We did set it up for the bigger geranium, so that's better. Look, it sits nice and proud. Remember, geraniums don't be too wet anyway, so in the hanging basket on a normal hot summer they'll love it. So what shall we do? Let's have a look. What we'll do, we'll put these surfinias that we bought. There's a bit broken there, look, so we'll take that off. Nice and double and pretty, so we'll use these. They'll complement the tubs anyway if you use similar sort of plants. These will want to come out, and if you keep them in a little, it'll stop it going what we call a coat hanger, where it just goes like that. We'll use 2 and then 2 white as well. Right, so if we go about there, I'll just pull the compost up so I can see how we're going to balance it. That's fine. And then we've got 2 white, I'll get those. Again, these are some that Diane bought that they were selling off, so they're good plants, they'll do. And instead of planting them that way, which will give that coat hanger effect, what we'll do, we'll just turn them a little up so that they look like they're growing in, and what they'll do is grow through then and all flower in one. Happy with that. And we'll have another one this time. The basket has a liner in it, and I've made some holes in the bottom. It's last year's basket, so I know they're done. Same again, look. Take the dead flowers off, obviously. This one may as well come off, it's about finished. And they'll be fine. Nice double ones. Again, I'm going to plant them slightly facing in, look. So they'll go through the basket rather than just hang over the side. There's another dead head here, look, we may as well take them off while we do it. There you go. And now I'll put some more compost in, and then we'll finish the basket. I'll just go a little bit more. Plenty of compost in. Push it down nice and tight, it will shrink. Make sure all those roots are packed in nicely. Now I think all these spaces here will fill up with inpatients, basilises. 2, 4, 6, maybe 6 or 7 of them, we don't know yet, we'll see how we go. They look a bit bedraggled, but they'll be fine. That'll do nicely. We'll put them in 2s. I've got to leave room also for the bacopa, so we must leave room for that. What should we put with that one? There you are. We'll just take those dead bits off. There you go. This is another one that's been planted as a double. 3 in this one actually, so we've got 3 different colours in that one. It'll be fine and make it nice and pretty on the basket. Again, keep moving it round. Big space here, look, 2 big plants. Nice red one there, another red. When you buy the bedding plants in these polystyrene trays, remember to take these out. We don't reuse those trays at all. There you are, it's nice colours there. And again, it's a nice colour, this one. And then we want one more in there. There you go. Just take the deady bits off and the seed head off. It'll be fine. Bit dry that one, but it'll be okay. Now we've got the base of it together now. Now we need something to really make it come down. All the inpatients will tend to spray over a bit. The surfinias will come through and go over. Geranium will hold the centre. So now we just need the bacopa. The baskets that we have on the house are on quite large brackets, so they do stand away from the wall a bit, so we haven't really got a back and a front. So we're planting it up so it will be right round us because it's away from the wall. Again, these are the cuttings. By putting those 2s and 3s in, there's 3 plants in there, those 3 cuttings we took, and it really does make it worthwhile. So we'll put it in here. Plenty of room in there, look. There you go. Sort these out so it's all there. That'll do there. That will splay out nicely there, and they'll droop quite well. Next one in here, just make a bit of room. 1, 2, 3. I think we're going to put it in here. We've got 4, so we may as well use them. That's a lovely plant. Well rooted, that'll do. Make some room, plenty of room in there for it. And then spread them out so they'll go through. That's fine. Another one in there and another one in there, I think. In it goes, plenty of room. Make them nice and tight. Make sure while you got your fingers in there, you're pushing the compost into the gaps between the plants. It doesn't matter if that one's going up there, that's fine because it'll grow through. Geranium looks fine. So I want one more for there. Look. This is the last one to fill this basket. And then make room. It will fit. There you go. Just sort things out so everybody's got a bit of room to come on. And there you go. Yeah. Right, we'll just tidy up now and take the pots away and we'll show. There you are then. That's one of the hanging baskets done. Quite a few more still to do, but they'll all be on the same sort of pattern. So they all look the same along the front of the cottage, so it all matches nicely, and they'll match the pots as well. So that's one basket and 2 tubs down, quite a few to do yet, but we'll get through them over the next day or so. We will just let them settle, and then I'll water them all later on with very, very fine rows, and just let it gently water it, and then give it a good 20 minutes, half an hour, then give it a drop more, because that settles things down nicely. And if it stays overcast and rainy, I should pop them in the greenhouse, just keep the main rain off them. We are actually due for some thunderstorms on Sunday, so they'll probably go into the greenhouse. Now I just want to finish pruning the crazy grape. It's grown crazy again, so we'll need to trim those back so we get fruit instead of growth. There's only one line to do, and we'll do that. Then we'll do a little bit of fruit harvesting this week, just to show you what's becoming available at the moment. Look very nice. Now, just as we're passing, I'll just show you the overwintered onions. I have lifted them and I've put them on this bench so they get a bit of sun when it does come out. At the moment, I've put them on this basket. Normally I have to keep running down, putting them in the basket and putting them in the shed. Right, there's the Japanese overwintered onions. Not a lot, but there's enough there to take us through to when our main crop starts coming. Yeah, Diane has actually been using quite a few, but they're very nice. I quite like them. Up at the crazy grape now, I'll just show you where we trim it back to. Okay, if I just lift this up, you can see here, that's the grapes forming there, and then you've got all this growth going up. If we don't cut it off, all the energy is going to go straight up, and this cane will get 5 or 6 feet long by the end of the season. That's just a waste of goodness. And then this won't make grapes because all the energy's gone up there. So what we do, look, we just cut that off. Follow them back to where the grapes are. We've got grapes there and grapes there. So we'll just cut there on that one. Work your way through the whole of the vine. Okay, so we'll just take it off there. You'll get some that don't have any grapes on at all. Those I cut back to 2 nodes and then cut that off. We've got 2 sets of grapes growing there. What we'll do, we'll cut above the second bunch of grapes, so later on we can thin it down to 1 bunch, and then we'll thin it again to one bunch of grapes about every foot across the vine. There we go then. It's a bit difficult to start, but you have to cut your way in. So the grapes are down here, lot, and all that's just growth. So those grapes there are not going to make anything, so we'll take it off there. Again, few grapes there, let's just go above, just in case, seeing where the fruits are, and then do it. That one's got no fruits at all, so we'll cut back to 2. This one, it's got fruit there, so we'll cut that off there. This one, no fruit on that one, look, so cut that back to 2. Alright, let's look at this now. You can imagine if it's as bad as this now, if you don't trim them, you'll never be able to find your way through. So, I don't know if you can see, there's the fruits there. The little bit of fruit there, that's not going to make anything, not, so we'll just cut it off there. Now that looks a lot better now we've cut them all back. All the strength from the vine now will go into making fruit instead of making growth. Later in the season we'll reduce where we've left 2, we'll reduce to 1, and then again when the grapes are forming, then reduce the bunches of grapes to about 1 every foot. That'll make nice big grapes. Or you can leave them, if you're doing wine, just leave them all and take them smaller. Now, I don't know if you remember, but we did plant a white grape at this end, and we extended the harbour so we can grow it up over the top, so we've got a black grape and a white grape. It's growing very well. We don't need quite so many runners coming up. 2 or 3 will do nicely. Now, I have tried to keep it mulched, but the chickens have decided otherwise. But I have put the wire around the bottom just to stop them from pecking at the buds, okay? Now we need to reduce this. This is far too many. We'll keep those 2, I think, going up. And we'll take these out if I can get to them. That one out. And that one out. This one is coming right from the bottom, which we don't want. So we'll take that one out as well. So now we've got 1, 2, 3 coming up. So we'll keep those 3. I just took this one at the back so it goes up. And then eventually we'll reduce it to 2, but 3 will do for now. Growing quite well, and quite pleased with it. I just hope we get to the top this season, so then we can start and train it onto the frame at the top. So that'll be a white dessert grape. I'm quite looking forward to that. I just hope it doesn't go as crazy as its cousin over that end, else we'll never cope with it all. Now we need to pick some fruit, so we'll go down to the fruit cage and we'll get those out, hopefully before it rains. Now we're in the fruit cage. The raspberries have done very well, as you can see. Despite the weather, we've still managed to get a bit of crop. So we'll pick some of these. They're picking quite easy, look. Yeah, let me just try it there, look. You see, they just fall away when they're ripe. You see? Look at that. Very big berries, but we've had a lot of rain, haven't we? We'll just pick these. They're coming away very well. As you can see, lovely berries. Right, so I'll pick them and then show you what we've got, okay? Now there's the first pick of the raspberries. The raspberry Juno. The early season raspberries, as you say, summer raspberries, look very nice. And Diane tells me they taste very nice as well. Now we're just going to pick the strawberries that are ready as well. There's 1 or 2 very large ones, a little bit sparse to what I normally have, but remember these are only 3-year-old plants. Now the very wet weather we've had, as you can see, has taken some of the berries, so we need to take those off. You see, these are what happens when you get that amount of rain. The poor things, you just can't cope with it. So they'll go to the compost and everything else will go to the house. But these are fine, look. They'll be fine. So we'll pick them and we'll show you what we've got towards the end, okay? I'm picking them slightly underripe as well. Now there's 1 or 2 here that's done very good. Look at that. It's got a bit of dirt on it, but that'll wash off. That's not a bad berry. And if I do 3, bit of dirt on it, look, that'll wash off all right. When I look at those 3, I just think we're lucky that the granddaughters aren't here. So we'll get them picked and then show you what we've got. There's a few strawberries that have got through the wet weather. A lot of them have gone rotten, but they'll do fine. got plenty of size on and they smell absolutely delicious. Apologies for my neighbour who started mowing, but he needs to mow his lawns while it got reasonably dry. While my neighbour's been mowing, we've nipped down the garden and done a little harvest ready for the weekend. I'll just go through and show you what we've got. Now, I started in the greenhouse and I got a nice cucumber, and then we went down the garden and we got 2 lettuce. They're the cos type, the tall ones. A red lettuce, this is cut and come again, so we've cut it off so that the plant will regenerate. A few broad beans, they'll be very nice, as fresh as that. Some first early potatoes. As you can see, the skins drop off them, so they'll be superb. A couple of the onions that we lifted, they'll go up to the house now. And some lovely radish, and of course the spring onions. In the fruit cage we've got a good picking of strawberries and a good picking of raspberries. That'll be it for this week. I hope you've enjoyed it. Many thanks for watching, and thank you for subscribing. We do appreciate it, and hopefully we'll see you next week in the sunshine. Be a change. Bye now.